Okay, let's take a look at the French and Indian War, also referred to as the 7 Years' War. And Winston Churchill, the famous Winston Churchill, will go on to refer to the French and Indian War as really the first world war, as it was fought around the globe, really mainly between the British and the French. And before you understand the French and Indian War, you have to know your geography. In North America, France at this time, prior to 1754, controls all of Canada. They control the mighty Mississippi River, and they control the land just west of the Mississippi River. England, on the other hand, controls the powerful 13 colonies right along the Atlantic coast. So there's really three major causes. The biggest, most important cause is this one right here. This is a map of the Ohio River Valley, and it's this really rich, fertile, lush land on the Ohio River, and France and England are colliding on this land. We have the settlers from England are moving west from the 13 colonies, and then the fur trappers and traders from France are coming southwards into the Ohio River Valley. Both lay claim to the area, both want it, as it is very, very good for farming and fur trapping. The other one is just trade in general. France and England are duking it out around the world to control trade routes. It's only a matter of time before they fight it out over North America. And then the last cause, to a much lesser degree than the other ones, there's a little bit of a religious aspect, as France has always been Catholic and England has been a Protestant nation, and they've been rivals for a while. Before you understand the military components of the French and Indian War, you have to understand that the Native Americans play a very integral part in this war. For the most part, they overwhelmingly side with the French. One major tribe, known as the Iroquois, who are located in kind of the upstate New York area, do side with the British, but mostly they side with the French. French tend to get along a little better with the Native Americans at this time. So there's a lot of major battles that happen. I'm just going to look at three important ones. The one that kind of starts the French and Indian War is this one, Fort Necessity, and here's a little picture of Fort Necessity down here. It actually involves a very young George Washington as he goes into the Ohio River Valley, provokes some French chase him down. He builds a fort, calls it Fort Necessity because of the quickness, and some British soldiers end up dying, and George Washington has to retreat. It's going to be one of the few times he ever has to retreat. That kind of starts the French and Indian War. The siege of Fort William Henry is a big loss for the British. They lose a fort to the French. French surround them out in the Ohio River Valley, and they end up retreating. As they're retreating, the Native Americans who are allied with the French attack the British soldiers who are retreating, kill a lot of them. The British will never kind of forget that during the war, and they will take it out on the Native Americans later on. But probably the most epic battle, the one still studied by military historians today, is the Battle of the Plains of Abraham. And General Wolfe, a British general, sails up the St. Lawrence River right outside of Quebec, lands there at night, marches his entire army up these cliffs at night, arrives on the Plains of Abraham, surprises the French in Quebec, and they end up defeating the French in 30 minutes, and the British really cut off a big supply route for the French, and the French are never really going to be able to regain any momentum during this war. They end up losing. They sign a peace treaty, Treaty of Paris, that happens in 1763. Major effects of the French and Indian War. Well, for the French here, they're done. They're out of North America. They're really never going to have much influence in that part of the world ever again. As a nice gesture, though, the British allow the people who are speaking French there to continue to speak French. Hence, a lot of people in Quebec and parts of Canada still speak French today. The big effects, though, are all on England and North America. England is now the dominant force in North America. They are going to punish the Native Americans. They push all of the Native Americans really west of the Appalachian Mountains, and they pass a treaty, an important one called the Proclamation of 1763, and they say no British or North American settlers can move past the Appalachian Mountains west of them. That's going to really upset the settlers. And then also, you have this war that they fought, and they've gone into huge amounts of debt fighting this war. And so who do they turn to help pay them off? They turn to the American colonists, and they say, we are going to tax you. And so they implement a number of taxes that you'll study later on that really, really upsets the colonists. And the colonists say, one, we didn't want to fight that war with the French. Two, we didn't want to have to pay for that war for the French. And you're going to see the seeds of really the American Revolution are going to start. And a lot of it is rooted in the French and Indian War and having to pay these heavy taxes on it. And so I see this picture here of the Declaration of Independence, almost a derivative of the French and Indian War.